Well, as you say, a year's gone by since I spoke about the truths of TrackMan. Of course, they're still true, that's why they're truths. But you look on the range and you see all these guys working hard and they're using it to good effect nowadays. And I found something else that we could do with it, which was really helpful with particularly Francesco Molinari, was to find out what his club head speed was, just to work on that, not to worry about anything else. But once we got it up to speed, we know he's working literally full out. At that point, could test what's happened. Where's it likely to break down? If we put more pressure on it, more speed required, where's it likely to break down? Pleased to say, hasn't broken down too often. But it's an interesting way of working. You keep a record of the players' club head speeds. You work from the wedge through to the driver, and each one has got its numbers. And interesting to watch the progression. Some players go 2 miles an hour faster, some 2.5, some 3. But there's usually a steady progression up until you get to 5, 4 and 3 irons. And that point they tend to level out. Doesn't mean to say they go the same distance, but I've got a little theory that it's possibly at that point a player consider using a hybrid club. Something that's useful because it's about getting trajectories as well with those clubs. So that's something I've learned. But going back to the club head speed point, I really like it because you can also see that some days they're not up to speed, quite literally. And that's a time when they perhaps haven't done their training or they're feeling a little under the weather. And you just quieten off the work that day. There's no point working if the Ferrari's not up to speed. So yeah, it's been really interesting to do it that way. I'll still use all the other numbers, but I focus more on that, particularly as I say with Francesco, although yesterday Ross had a super session where he was hitting speed so consistently, and of course that helped him with his clubbing. He was adjusting, and I know this sounds crazy, because over 200 yards he was coming up 2 yards short with his 5-iron. I mean, that's the degree of precision that they're working on. But that's only possible if they're swinging consistently. So yeah, club head speed is a new best friend. They tend to get an extra 2 miles an hour, around about 2 miles an hour when they're on the golf course, and that's obviously competitions where they've been recorded during play, more so on the PGA Tour, and that's to be expected. There's a little bit more adrenaline coursing through your veins when you're in the tournament. And then also with the drivers, and it's for Ross and Francesco, they're both pretty much using their full speeds, and on a tight hole they'll go with their drivers at full speeds. The tendency to gear back with speed can cause missing the centre spot as well. So I would prefer both players to say, I'm not fancying this tee shot, I'll hit a 3-wood and go at that properly. Because if you then choke back on speed, that can cause miss hits as well. It's not just going forward with speed that causes the miss the centres.